Come on. What is going on, All-Terrain Nation? Whether it be two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, you know the drill. It does not matter what you drive as long as you're driving Broncos tonight. This is your All-Terrain Nation. I'm your host, David Boyd. And tonight we've got Mr. Luke Pankow of Lifestyle Offroad, the king of the Xteras, if you can tell behind you. What is going on, Mr. Luke?
Oh, not too much. I'm doing pretty good. How are you, Dave?
Well, you know, Tennessee, it's starting to get cool a little bit. And you're probably up where you're at, actually starting to cool down a little bit, right?
Yeah. I've had to put the top up a couple mornings. I'm not that brave yet. Yeah, mid-50s some mornings, but still in the 80s in the afternoon.
Nice. Well, guys, if you don't know, me and Luke have been friends for, God, like 12 years, I think now, for quite a while.
Yep.
We cut our teeth on these Xteras, and we went from there into a better vehicle, I think, Luke. But Luke is with Lifestyle Offroad, and if you don't know Lifestyle yet, you're going to, because you guys have a bunch of cool parts coming out for the Broncos, and I've seen some of the parts, the prototype stuff that y'all have done, and I like it a lot. And but first off, man, what is Lifestyle Offroad? What are you about?
So it all started really like you kicked off back in the Nissan world, just making club stickers. I've got a graphic design background, so when anyone needed club stickers, they would come to me. I'd cut them out of vinyl. That kind of spiraled into making it more of a legitimate business rather than just something on the side. Now we can do anything from graphic design, full vehicle wraps, t-shirts, hats, banners, kind of anything. And as we've progressed now, with the Bronco coming out, we're going to be coming out with a full line of parts. Windrock, obviously a Nissan event, but run by two former Nissan owners now.
Who's that?
Who's that? Yeah. We should be at least putting like a 2-inch lift kit on the Bronco, on my Bronco. There is the plan. I got to try and figure out if anyone down in Oak Ridge can do
an alignment,
yeah, before I burn up my brand new tires driving all the way home. But yeah, we're going to pretty much anywhere on the truck where it talks about accessory ready, which that's on the hood, on the mirrors. There's all sorts of panels on the inside. We're trying to come up with a bunch of little things for there. And then we have a front winch bumper that we've produced. And now we're back into tweaking the design so it's ready for final production. Sliders, full skid plates. We're going to be able to fully outfit your Bronco. So,
well, there you go, guys. That was it. That was your show. No. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, because like you said, like you have a design background, so it's cool that at least somebody we know who loves off-roading is putting some thought into some of these bumpers. I know you've partnered, with a different company to do this, and of course they have a killer mechanical design background. And
yep.
Oh, we got Danny on the show here. What's up, young Daniel? Today he says tonight Dave tries to convince Luke he is cool enough to be in the Bronco gang despite owning a Jeep still. Thanks, Dan.
He's got a VIN number.
Yeah, I've got a Bronco. It's just not with me yet, or it's in pieces maybe. But I like that I've seen what you guys have done, and I really like what I've seen so far, and especially if some of the hybrid stuff we've talked about in the past of like maybe doing some tube with some plate. That's going to look really cool. And I don't like putting everybody else's stuff on my. I mean, the 4-wheel parts stuff looks cool. If that was it, I would use that stuff.
Right.
But I want something. I don't want my winch just sticking out in the wide open like the designs that they have. And I know this has been a big issue for a lot of Bronco people. Is I want a winch bumper, but I don't want to lose my camera. And have you guys taken a look at this issue and solved it yet, or what's going on?
That's hard to answer. And the only reason it is hard to answer is that the test truck that I was able to find in Orlando was a Black Diamond.
Mm-hmm.
Mine is also a Black Diamond. And this is where it gets a little. I'm pretty good on all the specs. I don't remember if you can actually get the high package on the Black Diamond. I don't think you can.
I don't think so. Just mid.
So we don't have a front camera on the Black Diamond. You do have lane keep assist, but you don't have adaptive cruise.
Right.
So the more I picked the Black Diamond for marine grade seats and rubber floors. Those were the two important things to me. I put rubber floors in my Xterra I had as soon as I was able to take the doors off. And it was so much nicer than carpet. It didn't matter if you got dirty, you just wiped it out. So I basically got the first level that allowed the waterproof inside, and I didn't care about all the bells and whistles. Now looking back, maybe for production purposes, it would have been a little better to spend a couple thousand more to get some of those things, but for off-roading, I just didn't find that incredibly necessary.
Right.
So, with that being said, we did. Sorry, my headset just started beeping at me again.
Great. What kind of show is this? Jeez.
Yeah. See, I was cheap on my Bronco. I was cheap on my battery life, apparently. So the one thing with like Ford, there was a guy kind of arguing with me, but I was trying not to argue with him. I was actually just looking for input on his, like what he was saying about the bumper, because I had posted a picture of the bumper, and he said, "Oh, you're gonna kill the approach angle." Hold on 2 seconds.
Oh, you're perfectly fine. There's just well, we got like 50, 60 people, watching. It's okay.
So this guy said, your bumper is going to kill the approach angle. And I said, what do you mean? And he took that as like I was taking it personally. Right. But I was using it as, customer feedback. Like why is he thinking that? Because the factory Ford winch mount sits on top of the bumper and then sticks straight out from the grill. And it's this big, bulky, not very well thought of, like, add-on accessory. It's terrible looking. And so I posted a picture of it, and he goes, that's not Ford's. And I'm like, but it is. Can you just tell me why you think mine is so much worse than that? Long story short, he really couldn't. But what we did is we tried to keep the winch down in the bumper, so it's at least half covered up. The winch is going to be below the Bronco emblem by a couple inches, which is where the camera is. So I can't tell you for sure that it's going to see as far down as it did before the winch, but the factory mounting locations for the four-wheel parts, for the Fun Haver bumper, and for the Ford bumper, the front camera does not work at all. Ours, you should at least have 60 to 70% visibility, if not all visibility. We just need to work with somebody that has a front camera so we can really test that out.
Right. And that's, the thing with Bronco that's cool and the thing that's bad about Bronco right now is the fact that there's so many kind of options that it kind of for manufacturing it's a nightmare. I mean,
Yeah.
because you know, yeah. In the old days, you could just build a bumper, a simple bumper, and that's what it was. It was a bumper that covered it, and everybody was happy. But now it's like if you've got to have two options because everything besides if you get the high package Wild Track or the high package of Badlands, like you said, the biggest hurdle that I think a lot of people forget. And Kelly, thank you so much for that super chat, guys. You know the super chats do the channel awesome, and I appreciate that. The biggest thing is that radar, that sonar out front. It just screws up everything, and you don't want to winch super high either. I think a lot of people lose on the fact that the higher the winch, you've just got weirder angles you're pulling at. You want the winch as low as that frame as possible. It just is, it's better structure to have it mounted there.
Right. And so basically you have the two recovery points right out front in the bumper.
Mm-hmm.
Ford did a great job with that. And those are bolted square right in the middle of the front frame horns. So you can look at any Bronco and instantly see where the frame is. That's your reference point.
Right.
I've always wanted the winch right in between the frame rails, and that's what we were able to do. I don't know why Ford thought it'd be such a great idea to stick it literally like 6 inches above that. That's just creating a whole lot more leverage. Usually when I've needed to winch, I'm pulling up anyway. Yeah. So the lower you can have the winch is going to help pull all that weight up. I don't know why you want to start so high. And also, I mean, the company I'm working with, Shadow Wolf Manufacturing, if you've ever met Nestor, you know that he really thinks through everything. Because we even got to the point where we were starting to think, do we need to figure out a different intercooler for these? Can we take the intercooler out, put it more up behind the actual grill rather than low? We went through all sorts of things, trying to figure out how to fit the winch in there and tuck it in the best as possible. And I think we did that. Like I said, we made one and it works.
Right.
We already went back and revised that design, so I'm not going to say it's the best, but it's better than anything I've seen. And we're just going to keep improving it from here on out too.
Well, so this will be a weird question for you. What are some of the pluses and minuses of some of those bumpers you've seen so far? I think right now, I hate to say it because I'm not a four-wheel parts fan. You know, sometimes they've throw some junk out there. I like the way theirs looks till it's $1,000. Then you got to add what is another $400 on top of that for a winch plate, and then you've got ARB, which is generally a pretty solid company, but their bumper looks just, I don't know, something about it looks strange to me.
Right. Yeah, I don't know what it is about the ARB, but it's like it doesn't fit the vehicle right. It's not necessarily a bad looking bumper, it just doesn't complement the front of the truck at all. I don't mind the four-wheel parts one, but they I think it's like $1,300, and then if you want to add the winch, it's like $300 or $400 more because you have to buy like an additional plate to do so. There just seems to be like a lot of little details where I almost feel like some people are going to buy the things and then be like, oh, I spent $1,300 plus shipping and I still can't mount a winch. I have to spend $400 more or whatever.
Well, that's a trend I've noticed in the world of aftermarket now. Other than like some basic older companies, it seems to be the newer thing now for all these big trucks, especially you just nickel and dime these people to death. And I've got the Bronco or the ARB bumper up there now. I don't know if this is final design, but yeah, it's just a little off-putting to me, and it doesn't seem super practical. But yeah, I don't know what it is about these companies. Now, obviously, metal right now, we all know we're in a pandemic, whatever you want to call it. Everything's through the roof. So I get in a sense of, oh, you've got to upcharge some stuff because prices need to raise because of all the, the commodities. But it was like this before. People would just,
Yeah.
you were getting $2,000 for a winch bumper. You could, I know with the old Xteras, like you could have more in a bumper than the damn truck was worth anymore.
Right. Well, so I don't do lifestyle off-road full time. I work for Microsoft. I work in the data centers, and that business is exploding because everybody works from home. You got to store all that information somewhere and store it on the cloud, which is data centers. We've at work had to stop building data centers because we literally can't buy the metal to put the structures of the building up.
Wow.
So I understand supply chain shortages. I understand what's going on. I mean, that's affecting me in more than one way. Even I was just talking to Nestor tonight about some stuff, and he was saying he basically has to get metal quoted daily because the price changes so
Right.
much. So it's great to have these Broncos out, but at the same time, they're kind of coming out at like the worst time possible.
Oh, well,
I'm all seeing that.
I think everybody here, either they're waiting on a build or something. We all pretty much know, yeah, there just couldn't any be a worse storm. This is Hurricane Bronco, basically.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to send you pictures of the winch.
I've got some teaser stuff. I don't know if you've put anything up on Instagram just yet, but
I haven't, but this would be a good place that you could post a few pictures.
What?
There's on my YouTube channel in my video where I did the wrap, I put a few pictures at the end.
Okay.
But my channel's not quite as popular as yours yet. I'm lacking a little content.
Well, you're getting there, man. You're getting there. Well, let's see. Let's see what I can find. All right, well, we're on Luke's Instagram now, and what I see is a kind of half-built Bronco, man. What is up with that?
Half-built Bronco.
Yeah, it's going down It's going down the production line.
That. Well, that was from a friend of a very famous YouTube show, I think.
Well, that how was that though? Because we've made some friends through this, and I know some people over there, and I told you like it's no secret that a friend of the show gave us that photo. But how cool was that? And I'll get through your other pages, but to get to see your Bronco being built like that.
I mean, that was really cool. I don't know how much you were bugging your insider, but I mean, you told me you thought you could make it happen, and I wanted to believe you, but at the same time, it's like, I know that MAP can't be a small place, so I'm like, I don't know, is this going to really happen? Is it not? And I have gone back to that picture a couple times, and it's like, is this mine? I mean, I have to think so, because when the picture... I think about the time you sent me the picture, Ford sent me the email saying built and shipped like within a few hours. So
yeah. What was funny was we knew exactly. Well, we knew there was a shift change when yours was being built, so it was kind of weird that the. I kept telling you, hey man, it was supposed to have been, I forget, afternoon. They had something happen on the Ranger line, if I remember right, that caused a slowdown.
Yep.
And yeah, but let's see. Let's look through here. We're gonna look through Lifestyle Offroad. Well, there's the So I got the teaser up of your LO, and you can kind of see the front bumper there a little bit. You can see where the winch is supposed to go and how low it's going to sit, which I like. And honestly, I mean, the thing that I've seen, it looks like your bull bar is actually usable. The thing that I've seen with the forward bull bars right now is they do not really look usable. They just sort of, it's just out there for show, no go, you know?
Yep. It's all of their stuff looks like, I mean, I think that the modular bumper, which is what the Black Diamond comes with, I think it's a pretty good looking factory bumper. It kind of models some of the stuff that Jeeps come out with. I don't think it's bad looking. It's not terrible by any means. It's made out of a decently thick steel, but it's like the little bull bars and the winch mount and stuff you can put on it, they just look like such afterthoughts.
Yes.
It's like they didn't figure it out beforehand that they wanted to add stuff to it. So yeah.
I would definitely agree with that. I think the problem with the Bronco, it really was the fact that I just feel like Ford didn't. They I've said it many times on the show. They kind of knew what Jeep did. They kind of stole the soul of kind of what makes Jeep cool, but they didn't really know off-roading. Or it just doesn't feel like that. And I'm not crapping on the company because this is an undertaking. Like, to take on this market is like, it's not like they just built a Bronco or a Ranger and was going to throw some off-road stuff on it. They took on the king of the mountain, and there's Dirt Mountain there, so they're not all the way up that mountain just yet. But but that's the investment. The literal investment's $1 billion to get this thing going, and then now they need off-road specialists that come in and say, hey, this is what you do, this is what you don't do. But like you were saying, the bumper, the metals, they're not 3/16 plate steel, but I really don't have any issues with it for the first couple months.
Right, and even the looking underneath and checking everything out, even the factory skid plates are pretty decent. Now, going to places like Windrock, Moab, that you can even bend like a 3/16 inch plate with relative ease, especially on a 5,000-pound truck. In like the picture that you have up, where it's just the teaser shot of my bumper logo, I'm calling it, you can kind of see that there's a skid plate underneath, and then we have another one that attaches to that, and then there's even going to be a third one. From the factory, for whatever reason, Ford doesn't give you a transmission pan skid plate.
Which is weird to me.
It's very weird because the transmission pan and the oil pan are plastic. Well, they're not ideal for bouncing off rocks.
Well, is it the transfer case skid that's just sort of hanging out in the open with no support, if I remember right?
The transfer case skid has it's got like 2 bolts on the cross member and then like one further back on one side, which I'm kind of thinking that will just be part of the transmission skid. It'll be long, but it'll be one big long rigid piece so that it'll help support that. But the gas tank skid, it's kind of funny looking, because the more you look at it, kind of the worse it gets, so to speak. It's almost like they built this like 1/8 inch thick skid plate across the whole pan. Mm-hmm. And then they decided that's not good enough. And so they went back and welded another one on top of it.
Was there a bunch of slag all over yours too?
I have not seen that, no.
There was one I looked under. It was I believe Dr. Detroit's, where it's just like nobody like grinded all this stuff off, and they just powder coated it, and there's just little weld beads dots everywhere on this thing.
I have not seen that. I mean, I haven't spent a ton of time under mine.
Well, no, you're enjoying it.
Yeah. Well, kind of. That's a story for in a little bit, I guess.
Oh,
yeah. So there was like some people were complaining about rust. And I had seen people talking about like welding slag all over. When I've looked under mine, I've been pretty pleased, to the point where I'm like, I'm gonna get this dirty. Like, I'm gonna have to try really hard to clean it up when I'm done. Like, it looks really kind of nice under here. I've been pretty impressed with how well everything seems to be built on it overall.
Right. No, I think they did a damn good job, man. Especially knowing, I know everybody's like, well, they started this in 2017. It was like, this thing went through many revisions. Let's not act like in 2017 it was ready to go and they were just waiting. No, this thing went through a lot of revisions, and it was pretty cool to see them as soon as they launched this thing back in July of last year, that they took it right to the Rubicon. It was a smart move on PR's part, and I think it would have been even a better move had they been able to actually get, in a few months after the launch, have Broncos ready to be sold. But
Right.
I was pretty impressed seeing or knowing that they took these to the Rubicon. Now, we know Nissan guys that have taken 33-inch Frontiers through there. I know Jen Bachman took her built. Let's not say it wasn't a built Frontier, but they've taken that thing through there, and she scraped a little, but she's an excellent off-road driver. But I think it does. It took It took Jeep on and said, "Oh, you're Rubicon? Yeah, we've got
Right.
that."
Right. No, I agree. It there. Whenever even when I've been looking under mine, like you can see they've taken all their Raptor technology and really pushed it into this.
The control
But
arms
now,
are definitely.
Oh yeah, but now with I don't know if it's the 21 or 22 Raptor that's finally linked in the rear. That to me almost has me thinking that they designed that on the Bronco and thought this is going to work. We're going to finally be able to put it on the Raptor. So they're kind of sharing counterparts, I think.
Yes.
They're kind of going back and forth.
Well, except for the Bronco has a motor that's fitting for the vehicle, and the Raptor as well.
Yeah. Yeah. What is?
So I've got the Bronco up that you guys put the first bumper on, man, and yeah, it's a black diamond, looks great. I like that the guy brought it to you guys muddy, like he was just like, oh no, I was already, like he's already put new wheels and tires on it, and it was like, oh no, but it was nice that you had met somebody that was willing to like he's like, hey, just take it as long as you need, develop parts.
Well, so there's a big Bronco group in Florida, and I had joined. I'm not in Florida. I'm in Iowa. I joined it and just kind of kept putting feelers out there, saying, "Does anyone in Florida have a Bronco? Does anyone want to get a deal on some parts?" And I got nothing. Probably I tried for 5-6 weeks. Wasn't real persistent, but one day I just had a message saying, "You still willing to make a deal for somebody?" So I thought this guy was local to Orlando. Come to find out, he was like 2 hours away.
Oh,
and
wow.
he drove down, dropped his Bronco off for a week, left it with Shadow Wolf, and Nestor was able to get everything he needed, and I kept getting FaceTime messages or calls from him, so he's like, check this out, what do you think of this? How should we do this?
Well, I know you had sent me pictures, or Nestor did, of like where you guys had the little sticky notes on all over this Bronco of like, we're developing here, 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 here. And the cool thing, I mean, I'm not going to crap on the Fun Haver and that group of, what is it, RTR or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
Like, they were lucky that they're Ford branded company that they get access to this stuff. But, a majority of off-roading, I want to say the East Coast has more off-roading than the West Coast, because these guys like Bubba out here, man, they put their vehicles through mud, rocks, they don't care. And Danny will be mad at me about this, but I think your wine glass toting desert runners over there is like, whatever. But I'm kidding, by the way. But stuff like Moab and stuff is obviously awesome, but I really think having East Coast, like Nestor being an East Coast off-roader, you're being sort of an East Coast off-roader. Like, you guys really know kind of from the vehicles that you've owned in the past, like, okay, these are weak spots and this relatively the same size vehicle. So you kind of have an idea of what it's going to take to build these parts.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I obviously need to take this out to places like Moab, get out to Colorado and experience some of those spots. But the big difference about like East Coast versus West Coast is you throw mud into the equation a lot of times too.
Mud kills.
And it's the days. Windrock is obviously going to be my most used example. It's probably my favorite place that I've been. Dave and I have been going there for 12 years. We know the park really well. But there's days where it can be dry and dusty and just like the slick rock you find in Moab. But the thing is you can all of a sudden get a rainstorm 3 hours into your dry, dusty trail, and it's a literal mud running down the mountain.
Yeah.
So that's where you have uh, that takes a lot of extra planning. I
Hmm.
mean, I don't go to Windrock without a rain jacket. I don't go with, well, the last time, I mean, now it's been 2 years, but last time was a rain jacket and a mask before COVID, a mask because dust was blowing around in your face so bad.
Right.
So it's a different world of four wheeling for sure. I mean, and I know it can get muddy in Moab and other places too. It's not nearly as common.
Well, in places like Moab, like you can go to Hell's Revenge. It's pretty much the same trail. You could go there 20 years later, and it's going to be almost identical to what you went up. Like some
Right.
of the East Coast wheeling, and once again, and I know California's a lot like this too, where it's ever changing. But I think everybody thinks, oh, Moab is the, oh my God, it's the place. It's the. You're like, dude, I've seen too many cars go through Moab. Like literally, and don't get me wrong. There's places like you've done the trifecta and all that. There's places I'm not taking a car, but also I'm not going to take my new Bronco either. Probably.
Right, right. Yeah, and there's some spots. I maybe it is Hell's Revenge. I think that one has like a long rock garden at the end, and I've heard of erosion and stuff killing that. Um, I mean, there's spots, but like Fins and Things is a perfect example. That is like a hilly highway that is kind of four wheeling.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the easiest trail, but it's not very hard either. And that trail will forever be the same. Um, yeah,
7 Mile Rim was like that to me, like the horseshoe at the end and all that, which I don't like at all. But it was pretty consistent. Other than when you leave, it's just like a dust bowl of trying to get out of there.
right, right. But there's a part of me now that's like, I did Moab once when my Xterra was independent front suspension with torsion bars, so it's not like that was a soft ride. The other few times were always on a solid axle with leaf springs. So I'd always get to those like long stretches, like when you're trying to get out of there, and I'd want to like go a little bit faster, but you couldn't because the thing would beat you to death.
Yeah.
But now there's part of me that's like, I've got this sand mode on this little dial in the middle, and I've got 300 and what is it, 30 horsepower. Like that trail would probably get a lot shorter, and I could do it a lot faster. I need to go out there and try some of those.
I am interested with the Haas system and all that of taking these things through some high speed or relatively high speed bumps and seeing how they handle.
Yeah, I definitely am too. I've seen a lot of comments on forums about the ride being harsh until you disconnect the sway bar, which I get. So that's something on our list is figuring out what to do, like a quick way to disconnect the sway bar off of a non Badlands edition.
I'm just saying that Mama Bear let me have that.
Yeah. I tried to save some pennies.
I know, man.
Um, which I don't think it'll be that hard. Even if you just flat out pull the sway bar off for a day of the trail, it's just a basic sway bar like
Yeah.
what's on every car and truck out there.
As long as it just don't tilt back, you could fold it up and it's not in the way of anything.
Right, right. But if that's all that's holding it back from having fun with a little bit of speed, I mean, I just hope that we don't have the Nissan airbag issue.
Yes, yes, and that's something that is something I haven't seen any talk of really. Is there's a ton of airbags in this thing, and
Right.
and airbags, there's sensors in them. There's tilt sensors in them. So anytime the vehicle feels like it's about to roll over, the airbags go off. And Nissan guys felt this. I know Danny had this problem. He was technically on a public road, bombing through that public road, and it went off. But I am curious because that was something that I think some of these modern vehicles really need is a cutoff switch for that stuff for off-road use only. Where it could only be activated at 4 low or something. Because I think we will see it. I think we will see some of these airbags pop for no reason.
And that's in the back of my head. Now, I'm by no means a huge fan of electric cars, but I appreciate technology. I've listened to Elon talk about the airbag system in Teslas
Mm-hmm.
and how that airbag system knows how you're sitting on the seat.
Yeah.
It knows how much you weigh. It knows how tall you are. There's so much that goes into it. It'd be almost nice if there was a little more that went into it in like a Bronco. Maybe it's not an issue. Maybe we're way overthinking it.
We could
But it'd
be.
be nice if you could just say, I'm on a trail now. Don't blow up in my face, please. And hit that button, hit OK on the screen, and then you go and
Right.
don't have to worry about it.
Wait, so Danny just gave me a super chat of $4.99, which is weird because I had to pay Danny $50. Oh, I didn't have to, but we gave Danny $50 the last time because he opened his mouth and decided. He said, "I'll drink for super chats." So I think Danny's trying to sway the crowd now from inside the crowd. But Danny, cheers, brother. Sorry, Luke. Sorry, my people know a good whiskey, and they like to see everybody enjoy it. So I know we've had you on the show before, and we've talked about this. But what was it about Bronco that sort of you went, "Oh man, I can get one. I want to be one of the first guys to kind of start manufacturing parts for it." Where was the idea? Was it just that your old toys were kind of getting boring, or what was going on?
I think that was a little bit of it. So my wife has an F-150. We have an 84 Chevy C20 pickup. I had a little Nissan Rogue, and then I had a 2004 Xterra, and then we have a boat. We only have a 3-car garage, which is pretty good size, but still we had basically 5 vehicles with really only 3 spots.
Yeah.
And I think that you were kind of saying, like, oh, are you going to watch the Bronco premiere? And I'm like, yeah, I might as well. Like, it might be cool. But it wasn't even a thought. Like, I'm not going to buy one of those. But then I watched it, and I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. Like, they put a lot into this. Just, like, one of my favorite things, as silly as it is like, the auxiliary light system. The fact that they pre-wired switches for you so that you can add accessories and not hack your truck apart is amazing.
Right.
It's the little things like that it has rubber floors. You can get the marine grade seats. All 4 doors pop off. I was getting to the point with my Nissan where if I did anything to it, it was full custom. Nothing wrong with that. I liked that. But I spent the last, I don't know, 8 months that I owned it just simply going through everything on it. I replaced every coolant hose. I replaced all the spark plugs. I put a supercharger on it to try and squeeze some more power out of it. I was just dumping money into the thing.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, I still didn't feel like it was super reliable or comfortable enough for me to want to jump in and drive across the country with my kids in the back going, we're going to go 4-wheeling for a week.
Well, was Jeep ever kind of in the back of your mind? Like, okay, well, I've kind of taken the normal import as far as it can go. Maybe I just jumped to Jeep.
I don't know. I appreciate when somebody builds a Jeep and does something that's not just complete bolt-ons. The new JLs have a lot of really nice features. I don't know if I just see too many of them. I've never thought about buying a Jeep. I didn't think I was really going to get rid of the Xterra until I told my wife as a joke, I'll sell both of mine to buy one Bronco, and then she just kind of goes, okay, what? Are you serious? And then I showed her how much they cost, and she was still on board. I don't know. I like the idea of the Gladiator because it's a pickup truck.
And I can't wait for you to drive my Gladiator, by the way.
I have not driven a Gladiator. I have. When did JL come out?
18.
The 2018?
Yeah.
Drove one of those. I did like a intro to 4-wheeling class with some local people, and I got to drive a blue 2-door. And I mean, I liked it. It just, the other thing is like, still the Jeep versus the Bronco, sticker for sticker, the Bronco is a bargain compared to like a Rubicon.
Right. Guys, thank you for all the super chats, by the way. I do greatly appreciate that. And do I need some ammo? The 5.56 is appreciated. Um,
uh,
but yeah, so the cool thing you guys are going to see in what 18 days, I think we get to hang out and do a week of off-roading. You're going to get to see the Bronco and the Gladiator together. And of course I did Dr. Detroit's first edition, which I fell in love with. Having all the bells and what, dude, that 12-inch screen, Luke, I cannot tell you, if it didn't, the 12-inch screen, what kills me with that is all the safety tech that comes along with it that I don't want. I don't want that because I'm, it's bad enough. We're old school guys. I like a manual transfer case. It's bad enough I got to trust a dial, but now you're saying, oh, by the way, off-road, guess what? You've got to deal with all these sensors too. But, and I'm sure Ford definitely thought about how to handle that, but I was like, you know what, I'm sticking old school. But so the Gladiator is very old school, manual transfer case, automatic transmission, 4-wheel drive, let's go. But so I want you to experience it now. Granted, I can't do a lot with the Gladiator because it's about to go away, but I still we'll go have some fun with it. But so with you in the Bronco, are you kind of excited to get it to Windrock, or are you like kind of nervous, like, oh, I just paid whatever $50,000 for this thing? I don't know.
So I had an opportunity to go out last weekend locally, and I passed it up. But what I'm more nervous about is parts availability right now. I don't think I'm going to take it off-road, and I don't think it's going to fall apart. That's not what I'm saying. I just didn't want to risk breaking something 20 days before I have this big trip planned. If something happens in Tennessee, that's a whole nother story. But the place by me, it also didn't help that it rained for 2 days before. It's notoriously muddy anyway, but I'm immensely excited to get down to Windrock. Like I said, it's one of my favorite places to go. We know the trails. If something happens, breaks, it's, I don't know, how do I say it? For good reason, not because I did something stupid. I mean, the trails down there are so wide. Here, all the trails are pretty tightly cut. Most of the guys drive buggies and things like that.
Right.
Nobody cares about the side of their vehicle. We'll put it that way.
Hey, these pictures you sent me, am I able to share these with the audience?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Go for it.
All right. You guys are getting exclusives here.
I'm excited for Windrock. I keep telling my wife it's kind of about firsts, because I haven't seen anybody with a 2021 Bronco on Panther Rock. Hopefully somebody doesn't beat me to that in 20 days, but that's a cool shot. Just getting out there. I feel like I haven't seen the Funhaver Bronco did the Rubicon, and that's real wheeling. There's no doubt about that. But other than that, I haven't seen just like everyday people that have been posting videos of these things really out in the wild. There's like the off rodeo. That doesn't count. That's not their vehicle.
Well, and that's, let's be honest, they legally they can't take those things through and really do what people want to do with them, because for one, they're taking a bunch of novices, which is cool.
Right.
But two, and here you go. Here's the kind of, you guys can see the front bumper that they've done. Of course, Luke said they're tweaking it, but they can't. I asked somebody last week or this Monday on the show. I said, like, he just came back from it, and I was like, he's like, oh, it was blast, but he admittedly had little experience, so he was happy to engage the lockers and get a feel for what they're doing. But like you're saying, nobody's really, like, I know the Rubicon and stuff, but nobody on the East Coast, let's say that, has really proven what this thing can do just yet, or that I've seen.
Yeah, there was pictures of a guy.
There was somebody over at
I think he's
North Carolina.
Roush. There's somebody that went to Roush, and now his
right.
Bronco is orange. I
Yes.
cannot think of his screen name, his Instagram name, whatever.
I know
he did some stuff. He did some stuff at Roush, and it was okay. I don't know if he had videos or pictures. It's been a little while. But then he went home, ripped it apart, and painted it, which it looks super nice. But yeah, it. I mean, if you flip through any of Dave and I's old wheeling pictures, we're on three wheels, we're in rock gardens, we're crossing creeks, rivers, whatever. Not rivers. Well, it depends.
Depending.
Depends on how hard it's raining at
Yeah.
Windrock. I mean, it's 75,000 acres now, I think. Um, I've literally done like 40 miles in a straight line of four wheeling at Windrock. Um, it's it's gonna really get put through its paces for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So guys, let Luke know what you think of the bumper design here. I think the way you guys have it right now, I think the camera is almost perfect. I don't know that I would be really curious to see this bumper. I think without maybe the bull bar, you're
Yeah,
no issues. And of course this has a cable on the winch too, so that it brings out
right.
the big I'm losing my words there. What you call those?
The fair lead.
Yeah, the Fairlead. So I think with a more modern, synthetic line there, it's really going to be zero problems, man. I like that bumper a lot, and I need to hit Nestor up and be like, hey, man, you need to prototype another one so we can throw it on mine when I get it this November.
Well, that is a good point that I haven't really thought about. I mean, I've obviously seen the cable fair lead on there, but that's heck probably what 4 inches that'll get chopped off the front
Oh,
by just putting the
easily.
little synthetic one on there.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure the camera is either in between the O and the N on the grill, or it's right below them.
It's right in
So
between, perfectly in between
is
the.
it?
Yeah.
So I don't know how it won't work. Uh, like it might you might catch the edge of the bumper or something in it, but I don't know. When people start asking these questions too, it's kind of like, I don't know, why do you need a camera up front to go four wheeling?
Well, because Ford sold them on that. But then
Yeah.
I will say this: just looking at your bumper Spitfire, the sonar, if it has that camera, it's got that sonar, and I have a feeling
Yeah.
that's just going to be a nightmare to deal with.
Yeah, we have to map those holes out, so that when you order it, you'll have the option to say, I've got a whatever high package. What is it? High and Lux are the two top.
Yes.
We'll need to know that, and we obviously need to get another Bronco into the shop to measure it all out so that we can at least put it in there and figure out if they have to be calibrated or what. But something else I want to point out while that picture is still up there. So you can see the crash bars, because on this Bronco, the bolts that are in it are actually like a gold or dark silver. Um, the one thing you'll notice is that the crash bar is exposed. And that's showing how much higher up our bumper is than the ones that Ford gives you. So Ford markets it like you can pull the bolts off and pull the wings off the side of the bumper for maximum clearance.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it's incredibly difficult to do that, but I pulled the bolts off the side of mine, and that's not something I really want to do more than once or twice.
Really.
Um, there's a lot of bolts in there, and you can't really fit an impact or anything at the angles they are. So you're sitting there with a ratchet, and you're doing like 6 or 8 bolts just to take one side off, just so you have a little more clearance to go four wheeling. And it's like, I don't need to do this a bunch of times. I just want to put a bumper on that works.
Right. Right. And that boggles my. I know why. I'm sure there's a safety reason, a crash
Yeah,
testing that they have to do that. But at the same
yeah.
point, like the one behind the front tire really boggles my mind. And I know a lot of people go, "Well, in case of crash, it won't go through the cab." And I'm like, "Well, how thin is the damn cab then? If that's a concern, we really got some problems."
Which the Sasquatch. So this truck did not have the Sasquatch package. It's actually got a 2-inch rough country lift and aftermarket 35s put on it, and that one is a 7-speed. Mine I got with the Sasquatch package, and it does not have those crash bars. It has what you can see in that picture. It has like the little stub, but it doesn't have the other piece that sticks out from that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have the rear one at all.
Oh, okay.
So they did
Oh, go
they
ahead.
did change that.
Yeah, well, I know. I think Sasquatch doesn't come with that from the factory, but I know people are, they're critiquing the bumper in the comments a little bit. And remember, guys, this is not the final version of it. They're definitely tweaking this bumper, but I think too a lot of people, well, you can tuck it further in. Well, you can't because you need airflow in there. You've got the intercoolers you got to deal with. You've got oil coolers, trans coolers in there.
Yep.
And then you got to have the angle that I've got the bumper up right now. You have to have some kind of approach angle, and you could really lower this bumper a lot if you don't want any kind of approach angle.
Right. Well, so there's even more that goes into it because so the intercooler sits low, and I threw a treat to my dog, and now he can't reach it. So the inner
Oh, we lost your volume. We lost Luke. Uh-oh. He's gonna plug himself back in or something. Guys, it definitely if remember being positive with the reactions to these things, and look, he's even got a Bronco in the background. But we have 27 likes and 90 people in here. John, thank you so much for mentioning that. Guys, all the likes do is just help my channel, other people find the channel, and I greatly appreciate that. Did you unplug, Luke?
Can you hear me now?
There we go. Now you're back.
Okay. These things aren't charging. What people aren't talking about, because I had to research the crap out of this after we got this thing in here. So the radiator and the intercooler both have active air dampening shutters. So as the vehicle picks up speed, like say you're going down the highway, the shutters actually close so that air isn't getting forced as much through the intercooler.
Right.
That sounds funny because you're like, no, the intercooler needs cold air. Cold air means power. Well, they do that to help dissipate condensation buildup so that you're not blowing a bunch of moisture through the turbos and into your motor. So it makes sense, but that also added a couple inches where we couldn't shove the winch back into everything.
Right.
We wanted to retain as much functionality, like original functionality, as we could. So the winch is, like I said, go out and look at everything else that's out there compared to mine. You can see that it's much more tucked further back than a lot of others could be. A lot of others are.
Which is where I was going to earlier was like true off-road people designed this. It wasn't some engineer that just, well, we can make it look like this and go from there. Definitely, like you guys have put a lot of thought into this.
Yeah. Is it the first time we went wheeling with Nestor? He broke a motor mount.
Yes.
And him and his buddy
Terrence. Time out. Terrence, dude, you are freaking crazy, man. Thank you for that $99.99, dude. That is freaking awesome, man. I appreciate that so much. All right, Luke. Sorry.
It's okay. Nestor was four-wheeling with us, and all of a sudden his truck made like a terrible thud, and I think it actually shut off. And him and his buddy jumped out and fixed his motor mount in like 30 minutes on his Frontier, which is it's unreal to do. They used the ratchet strap and they tightened it down, and then we were able to wheel the rest of this trail. And after that day, like me and him just became buddies. But he's a mechanical engineer, but he owns his own fab shop, so he designs parts. He thinks through everything and makes it practical. It's just everything's kind of next level. I mean, you can buy the Shadow Wolf kit for your Nissan and bolt Super Duty axles onto a Frontier.
Yes.
And like I said, you can bolt them onto a Frontier. Who thought that would even be a thing you could do? He really thinks everything through. So when I say the winch is tucked in there as much as we could get it, it's tucked in there as far as we could get it.
Oh, sorry, Luke. I'm reading some of the chats, man. Like everybody's Terrence is the man tonight. Matt says, "Is this a challenge?" It's a challenge to help me be full time. No, so I'm pulling up the side view of your truck now with the wrap that you have on it, which is I've seen some interesting comments about it, and not just on my thing, but everywhere. And so you wrap part of your off road company is you do wraps and stuff like this.
Yep.
Can you explain to people the colors, because I don't think the colors always come through in pictures and stuff, and but I like that you're right by the lake. You're literally the tops down. You're enjoying your truck.
um, my son picked them out. I mean, there's two parts that go into the colors. The most important one is that my 3-year-old son picked them out. He picked out the yellow. It's like sunflower yellow or something. It's actually, so I need to try and get another picture. If there is a yellow, what is it? The cyber orange is incredibly metallic in pearl in person. This color yellow would be like that same color as the cyber orange if it didn't have any metallic in it.
Right.
But he wanted yellow, at least that day, and so I ordered yellow. That's really all there is to that. But I had another color in mind, and I'm not you've seen pictures. I'm not telling people what it is because I may do it again.
Was it hot pink? Was it hot pink? Is that it?
Kind of. There's such a shortage in materials right now that out of like 60 plus colors that 3M offers, you could get like 8 or 10.
Yeah.
So that was the other thing, because it's hard to tell from pictures, but it's matte black with a gloss yellow and gloss black on top of it. So it's 3 layers of separate vinyl. It's not printed. It's all individually cut out, so it's got texture to it in person. You have to see it more in person. A buddy of mine designed it for me. When I design stuff for myself, it takes an eternity, and I'm never happy with it. But he designed it for me, and then, like I said, my son ultimately picked out the colors. He said yellow. But I don't know how many times my Xterra was wrapped, at least 4 different designs, and they were always loud and in your face. The combination between it being a Bronco, being something most people haven't seen, but then now the wrap on it, I have never in person gotten more of a positive response than driving this thing.
Yeah.
And I was getting that when it was plain white. But then I had the back portion done pretty quick, and then the next week was able to finish the rest. But I get just the most random people commenting on it and how much they like it, like complete non-car people.
Right.
I'm just like, oh, I think these colors really work.
So I wanted to get into the rap discussion, because that is a big part of your side hustle here is body wraps. I've seen so many people, and some people who have zero clue what they're talking about on the web, just like, oh, don't do this, do this. Where would you start to protect your paint job with one of these things? I mean, because I'll be honest, I think you'll start seeing in 3 or 4 months people bitching about the front ends of their vehicles just being all chipped up because the paints they use now are just so thin.
Yep.
What would you start with protecting your Bronco?
So this can almost get political, I feel. I'm a pretty big believer in ceramic coating.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the reason I say that is because you can actually put it over wrap material, and it helps just keep it cleaner. Not necessarily going to protect you from a big rock flying out at hitting your truck, but it helps keep all the other dirt and grime and bugs off of the vehicle, or at least helps them wash off easier to help protect the paint. Because paint, like you said, is just different now.
Right.
It's like 2K or 4K clear. It's just not quite as thick as it used to be. So I already have a few rock chips.
Really?
And I've got like 1,300 miles on it. There's one in the middle of a fender, and I'm like, I don't even understand how that got there. There's a couple on like the lower portions underneath where the wrap is, and you're driving a truck that came off the showroom floor with 35-inch mud tires. That's just gonna happen, I think. Somebody, the Cigar Texan beat you.
Dude, my viewers, man, are so freaking cool. I greatly appreciate it. And guys, I'm gonna stick around. We're gonna answer some questions and stuff too for you guys. You have anything? Well, so the thing I've noticed when I went to the Bronco Celebration East, I was looking at, it was raining, pouring, like it was the perfect time to see where these vehicles were going to get the paint abuse. And
Right.
the side of the doors, just from the Sasquatch package, or really any of them, were just caked in mud. I mean, you could just see where it was kind of sandblasting. And you know what Windrock's like. There's a lot of sand
Right.
in that clay, and
Yeah.
I can just see that doing damage. I mean, so you're saying ceramic coat, or do maybe?
I think ceramic coat for sure is your first step. So here's the other thing. If you ceramic coat it, it just plain makes your vehicle easier to clean, and it keeps it cleaner.
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, though, you can do like a paint protection film.
Which I've been preaching a lot, paint protection film, but it's expensive.
It's very expensive, and to me, a lot of that depends on how long you're going to keep it. If you're going to keep it for a long time, that stuff has to come off and get redone at some point. I used to install it. I've worked with it a ton. I've put it on the front of Maseratis and Porsches and all sorts of different cars, and it has its place. The problem is that it eventually starts to dry out, and you've got to get it off before it does that. Now, we're talking several years into the future, but it doesn't make your paint invincible, and it's expensive.
Right.
It's usually about double the cost of a vinyl wrap. Now, if you do a vinyl wrap like I did, like I'm saying, it's 3 layers. It's matte black, gloss black, the yellow. It's very durable, and it's not incredibly expensive. It is if you have somebody install it. That's where the price goes up.
Right.
But our old pickup has been wrapped since 2017, and most people think it's just painted black. Well, it's actually a wrap, and it sits and bakes in the sun all day, and it holds up great.
You'd wrapped our Xterra, and it held up great.
Right.
And we were drunk as piss, I think, trying to do that in a dusty off-road event.
Less than ideal conditions.
Yes.
I'm kind of interested to see what it looks like this year at Windrock and see how it's all held up.
Honest, are you out there? Hold on a minute. Honest, are you out there crappie fishing right now? My parents loved to crappie fish, man. They used to. I used to bass fish a lot, but anyway, sorry, Luke. I every once in a while I have to pay attention to the people every once in a while.
No, that's fine. Wrapping is a good option. It's kind of a hard pill to swallow if, say, you got your dream color that you wanted of the Bronco,
which is my problem.
Right. But that brings me to another thing, though, that you keep talking about, is you want those 4x4 Fender Deletes. And so like when I wrapped this, I took the fender flares off so I could tuck the vinyl and everything behind it. And it even looks good just with the fender flares off. I mean, you got the big meaty tire that sticks out. It just looks a little more tough. But I've driven it in the rain once and down some gravel and dirt roads. You're going to beat the crap out of your paint with those things on, because you're going to be throwing everything right into the fender and the doors and the back fenders. The Sasquatch flares catch a lot of stuff, that's for sure.
Yes. But there's also a lot of potential that I really wish they would have done the square fenders on these things. I think we could have,
Yeah.
because they do those, I forget what the company does. The big bulky flares that we've seen that nobody seems
The
to like.
Bushwhacker, yeah.
Yeah, I think those would have looked better. I'm back and forth on the Sasquatch flares, anyways. But I'm with you. Like the Fender Deletes, guys. If you do those Fender Deletes, please add some sort of protection to that paint, because those flares are good. Those, believe it or not, they're going to slightly move, and dust and grime get behind there, and it's just going to scrape it and open up to rust.
Oh, definitely. That's a great point. When I don't even remember what all panels are aluminum on these things. I know the tailgate is aluminum, surprisingly, because we tried to stick a magnet to that, and that didn't work. But you don't have to necessarily paint protection film the whole vehicle either.
Right.
You can buy like small rolls of it and just put it on like the high wear and tear areas.
Which Ford is
that
offering.
Wouldn't be a terrible idea.
What Ford is offering, it's just like the bare front, and I think the front fender basically.
Yeah.
But I personally, like I said earlier, I'm concerned with the doors of just, wintertime wheeling or whatever you want to do. And if you guys are newer to off-roading and you see all the dirt and grime that's on the doors, and you take those doors off to go off-roading, guess where all that's going? So just think about where you're off-roading and be a little bit prepared.
Well, I got to tell you, within 30 minutes of seeing my truck, they said, "What do you want us to show you?" And I said, "Well, how's the top come down?"
Yeah.
And so we did that right away. I've only had a handful of brand new cars. I've never had a car lose the new car smell so fast. But it's already no new car smell. It's already a little bit dusty on the inside. But I want the top down all the time. That's the whole plus of owning this thing. Heck, I was in August wearing a hoodie to work, and everyone's going, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "I drove to work with the top down and the doors off. Like, I don't care."
Right.
It was cold. But I did notice that, like, after the third day, I'm like, it doesn't smell like a new car anymore.
My Jeep, I will say, it's stuck around with my Jeep a little bit, but now it's gone now. But yeah, that is sort of a bummer of it. You're like, oh well, I paid for that smell. I kind of want to keep that smell around.
Yeah,
but
they're not cheap vehicles.
No, not at all. And so if you were to do this thing again, we're going to rewind to January. What was it? Or July of 2020, and you watch that video. What would you do different now that you didn't do then?
Put more in Bitcoin and Dogecoin. I don't know. I don't know that there's much that I would change. Really, if anything, maybe about the only thing I could think of is maybe try and tap into some of our resources that we have a little bit more. You and I have been able to meet lots of different people, and I was getting pre-production Bronco pictures that I should not have been getting like last August already. Mm-hmm. I probably could have milked those a little bit more to get a little bit further ahead in the aftermarket parts game, but I don't know. The whole production fiasco has, I feel like, put us in a pretty decent spot, because there's not like very many Broncos driving around still. So by the time most people have theirs, we're gonna have parts available for them already.
Well, I know for me, like when I was driving Dr. Detroit's around in the land of milk and honey of Broncos, I was amazed that I seen a few. But I was amazed, like, you would think up there you would see more, because you just get to see, especially where MAP is, you get to see a lot of cool things around that area. And I just, I did the Dream Cruise, which was really cool. And I think I seen two others on the road besides Dr. Detroit's and ours. And
oh, geez.
Yeah, and people, dude, I was going down the highway, And I told Dr. Detroit, I was like, look, man, I want to drive this with no roof, no doors. I want to experience this like I'm going to experience it next summer. Like that I'll be
Yeah.
honest, like mine will rarely have that stuff on because I bought this like you. I want to experience the top down all the time.
Right.
But dude, I was going down, I forget what road it was. I all the M roads up there, I get mixed up, but dude, there was some dude in a Raptor pulled up to me, man, and he was just waving his hands like and honking his horn, like just so happy to see one there. So I can imagine you, and you're not in a small town, but it is for, I guess, America, not like the biggest town. Like people just see yours and really go crazy.
Yeah. Well, I drive through Des Moines every day.
Mhm.
And I don't know. It's a decent sized city. But I mean, I get people, like I said before about getting comments on the rap. It's people that you just wouldn't expect to talk to you. I pulled up one day and the guy in a Range Rover's next to me, and he just kind of is like shaking his head, like, that's real nice. Like, thank you. And like, I feel like half the time the conversation is so unexpected that I feel like I don't know how to talk because I'm
Right.
like, I don't know why this guy's talking to me anyway.
Right.
And then I look the other way and a lady's like, that thing's just so cool. I'm like, yep. And I just take off. I'm like, why are people talking to me?
Right.
But then you have I've had other people come up and they're like, what is that? Is that a Jeep?
Have you
That's
had
not a
nice Jeep yet?
I got somebody said that's a really nice Jeep. I like that. And then she just kind of paused and tilted her head and she goes, "That's not a Jeep." And I just kind of was like chuckling because you could see her like thinking
Yeah.
through it.
Yeah. Well, that's cool though
What
that
is
they like
what is that?
people take the time to go, oh wait, because if you look at the roll cage of it and just a side profile quickly, you would go, oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
that's a Jeep, cool.
Oh yeah. Definitely. And I mean, my top has been down almost the entire time I've had it, which is, I mean, it's only 3 weeks, but um, yeah, you definitely could. At a glance, going down the highway, I get the Jeep wave from most Jeep people, and some of them you see like do it, and then they're like, "I don't know if I should have done that or not." Like
I
then they
take
go
it
by.
back. I'm taking this
Yeah,
way back.
yeah. But it's like I keep saying, my Thera was wild and in your face. Everybody noticed it, but like this, like people appreciate it. Like they're like so happy to see you, and you're like, I'm just trying to go get some milk and eggs. Like, but you can't. I mean, you obviously got home from driving Dr. Detroit's, and you changed your order to get one. There's just there is such a huge fun factor to driving it that you just can't have a bad day when you drove a Bronco to work.
Yeah.
Um it I made my wife drive it to the grocery store the other day and she came home and just you could tell she was just in a little bit better of a mood. And I'm like, I don't know what it is. It's just a freaking kick-ass vehicle.
Yeah, there so do you think that Ford should have done now that you've had it and drove it and you've had solid axle vehicles, converted solid axle vehicles and the old style IFS, do you think Ford should have went straight axle, or do you think where it's at they hit a home run?
I think they hit a home run. Well, and so we're in a unique situation too, coming from Nissans, because
Mhm.
we are more familiar with these axles than most people are, because these are the M variants from Dana, which that's what Nissan has used for an eternity. Um, but it's interesting to me because, like, on Nissans, you always hear about the Titan swap. Well, that's swapping in an M205 so that you can run 35s with a certain degree of strength. Well, Ford comes out with this on 35s, and they put an M210 in the front. So they're like, okay, didn't quite work for Nissan, so we're going to stick it up a notch.
Yeah.
We're going to make it cast iron and aluminum to defeat all those problems that those guys had.
And
It's like they were watching everything.
the center diff is its own thing, and the sides are individual. So if you cracked one of those
Right.
sides, they're replaceable.
Right. No, there's so much that goes into this, and the Raptor is a huge success, and like we said earlier, a lot of that technology is in this truck. I've gotten a few questions like, well, with the big tires, does it wobble down the highway? Is it? And I'm like, no. Like this, I've got the lane keep assist, which I haven't liked in other vehicles, but sometimes it's nice to just flip it on, set the cruise, and just not have to worry as much about swaying.
Mm-hmm.
And like it drives perfectly straight down the road. I mean, I realize it's a brand new vehicle, but it doesn't feel like anything else I've ever driven on such big tires. Um, you would you feel safe in it at 80 miles an hour for sure.
Oh yeah, I did 75, and I documented in that video. Going with no roof, no doors. It was, perfectly fine. I didn't feel like, oh
Right,
man, this thing's gonna be all over the road. No, I
right.
drove a vehicle that was all over the road, and the Jeep that was when I drove it up there. So
Yeah. Um, Raptor has an 8.8 in the front. Yeah, I don't know what the Raptor's front diffs are, um, but they Ford seems to have a lot of this figured out for sure. And like you were saying about your Jeep, how you have the manual engagement of the four-wheel drive. The one thing I have noticed playing around with it is like in other vehicles where it's electrically actuated, sometimes you can't tell what's going on. Or maybe like the four-wheel drive indicator is just flashing and you're like, I don't know if I'm in four high, four
right,
low. There's been a time or two where I've turned it on and it's told me, like it pops up on the screen, it's like please back up a few feet or something like that. Like it's
right.
very descriptive if there's some sort of hiccup. But then like for the lockers, they're instant on, instant off, and it's freaking amazing. Like I've run ARB and other air lockers before, which I know that's different, and they were pretty instant off and on, but every now and then it'd be stuck in a spot or something and it'd click a couple times or had an air leak, whatever. This is literally you push the button, it pops on, you push the button, it pops off. You can put the rear on in two-wheel drive if you want.
Really?
Yeah, I don't remember what I was doing really, but I just kind of wanted to see what would happen. And I was on a loose gravel road and put it on and put the hammer down and it locks it in. It doesn't throw a fit about it.
Wow, that's
So
that's
it's
actually kind of nice.
yeah. Um, actually, I do know what I was driving through taller grass and I was trying to back up and it got wet and I started to slip. Like, I'm not putting this in four-wheel drive.
Right,
So I hit the locker button and popped on and I was able to back up. I'm like, oh, this is really nice. Well,
right.
and even the trail turn assist is one thing that I haven't been able to figure out.
What do you mean?
So the only way I've gotten it to actually do anything, you have to be fairly heavy on the throttle. Um, you almost have to go into it like I'm gonna do a donut now.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just like ease into it and hope that it's gonna pivot. And when you watch the videos of them using it and demonstrating it, they do that also. But I was under the impression that was just to kind of make it look good for the video. But if you just put it on and say you're in four low and you just turn the wheel and slowly accelerate, it doesn't do anything.
Right.
But if you have it in four low, turn it on, and you put your foot to the floor, it locks that wheel and spins the body around. Which it maybe I get where that'll work, but like in Tennessee, if you're caught between two rocks and a tight tree,
Yeah.
you're not going to feel real comfortable hitting that button
Oh
and
yeah.
putting it to the floor.
Well, and then I seen somebody out trying to do donuts with that engaged one time, and I was like, you're just gonna tear up the vehicle." Hey, somebody
Yeah.
asked about your tires. Let me see what the question was. What tires that you have on? You have the factory tires on it still, right?
Yeah, I just have the factory tires. I thought about. I'm a big Falcon Wild Peak fan. We've had a few sets of them on our F-150, and they just work. and I drive about 40 miles a day. So I wanted something I knew that was going to last, but my dealer couldn't get them because there's a shortage, just like
Yeah.
everything else. So I just left the factory Sasquatch tires on. In that picture, he has Nitto Ridge grapplers, I think they are.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not my truck. I have the factory tires, but actually, I kind of like them.
I hate to say it because I'm not a Goodyear fanboy.
I am not either.
I may just wear them out.
Yeah, I think I'm going to too.
Super grippy. Like you can definitely grippy.
Oh, they really are. I'm really interested to see how they do at Windrock. But I know I don't have very many miles on them, but they just seem to handle well. When it has been wet, it hasn't been a problem. And there's so much about this truck that looks so much better in person that any picture captures, and the tires are one of them. Because I actually saw them on the Ram TRX. They have the same tires.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw them, I'm like, oh, those are actually kind of cool. But in a lot of these pictures, I'm like, nah, I don't need those things.
Well, since you've played with this a little bit, now we're kind of the old school off-road guy that you got to upgrade your tires and stuff instantly. Bigger is better. Where do you stand right now with the 35s versus I've got to go 37s now?
So, learning from your and I past experiences, I need to wheel this for a while on 35s,
right?
Before I go to anything crazy.
Because I've said, and I know you repeat this a lot. Learn your vehicle before you upgrade your vehicle.
Exactly. Even when you and me went from 33s on our trucks to 35s, it was night and day difference adding 2 inches of rubber between you and the road.
Yep.
I want to, if it would have worked out and I would have been able to switch tires, I was going to stick with a 35 for now, even then. I just want to know what it can do because sure, 37s look cool, 40s would look sweet. I think these things are going to go through an insane amount on 35s that I think a 37 is probably going to be kind of your perfect happy medium, still going to be really street worthy, but going to be able to do just about anything you throw at it off-road. But I kind of like pushing the limits with what it has first.
Yeah.
Figuring it all out. The other thing is we went from trucks that were solid axles on 35s. These have more ground clearance because you don't have a huge pumpkin hanging down in the front of your truck.
Yep. Which, if people don't realize that when you have a solid axle, that is a obstacle you have to off-road with too.
Yep. Yeah, because I upgraded the diff cover on the Xterra because you bash it into rocks all the time, and it just became another component that you had to be able to use. You had to drive around things that were going to catch it. Heck, mine got caught up, and then I'd spin around and a drive shaft would blow out because it was something that was essentially an anchor point sometimes.
Right.
So I think the 35s are going to take you through a lot. I'm pretty sure I can get a 2-inch lift, 37s on mine, and still fit in the garage, which is another factor.
Right.
But I'm slightly worried about like the tailgate. Could it hold a 37? Sure, it can right now, but what's that going to do in a couple years of bouncing around back there? Because it is just an aluminum tailgate. There's a lot that goes into it.
Andy, thank you so much for your consistent $4.99 that you do, dude. I greatly appreciate that. But yeah, I think the front CVs can handle it because those things are huge.
Oh yeah.
Like we're used to like Toyotas and Nissans where they're not as huge because the Japanese don't expect people to do what they end up doing with their vehicles. They just don't expect that. And so American guys like, whoa, no, we're gonna have to throw the metal at this thing. And I'm very surprised at the CVs, but like you, I'd be scared till I know a supply of parts are out there. I don't want to blow a CV either.
Right. Well, I had a whole 250 miles on mine. Went and picked up a friend. She got in. I'm backing out of her driveway, and I look, and I've got a crack in the window. I'm like, huh.
Jeep
And
life, man.
we're going to a concert, and I'm like, I can't let this ruin my night. At the same time, I got 200 freaking miles on this thing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, whatever. So the next day, I started calling places. Well, at first, I looked into insurance, and I quickly, after that, changed my insurance deductible to be much lower than $500 for the windshield coverage.
Yep.
But then I started calling shops because I'm like, this is not a big window. Like, it can't be that expensive. So I call. Nowhere can even give you a price because they can't even get a window. Like, what? She goes, 6 to 8 months is what all the dealers are telling me. Because
Wow.
I found a shop that was, they were trying to work with me. And she called 4 different dealers. 2 of them couldn't even find a part number for the windshield. And then the other thing that super sucks is with all the sensors you're talking about, there's a camera in your windshield. And it's right behind the rearview mirror. So when you get your windshield replaced, you have to get it all calibrated again. Like, awesome. 200 miles, have to get a new window, have to get it all calibrated, can't even get the part. Like, yeah. So I had a local guy was able to fill the crack so you can still see it, but it has stopped cracking for now at least. But
Well, and you're not the only one. I'm seeing that to be a common thing. And I think if you're new to this style vehicle, if you've never dealt with Jeep, I've told Kelly with ours, I'm like, it's a matter of time before it's just the way they sit straight up. Now Bronco is a little more rounded than Jeep is, but they just are are magnets for rocks and everything. And I know somebody earlier commented about, don't tailgate too much, which is true. But when I was driving to Michigan from Middle Tennessee, man, like I would hear tick, 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 and I wasn't close to semis. Like they're just throwing up stuff, and I understand why the front of your vehicle looks like a shotgun went off on it after owning a Jeep with those windows.
Yep. And it was kind of funny because when the guy was filling the crack in, he was like really examining it because obviously had never seen one before.
Mm-hmm.
And he was saying, like, he pointed a few things out because like a Jeep is pretty damn flat, right?
Right.
So he was saying, like, if you actually look, it does have a bit of a curve, and it kind of curves horizontal and vertically a little bit. He's like, I think Ford was trying real hard to fight this. I'm like, but it didn't work.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
right.
sitting here with you trying to fill it in. Like, cool. Yeah. So,
Well,
I figure I won't replace it before Windrock because that's a 1,600-mile round trip for
right.
me. So
yeah, there's no reason to.
After that, I'll finally call my insurance again and be like, we need to figure this out.
Well, I know the Jeep guys have something that's a Gorilla Glass like that they've.
Oh, really?
It's been popular for them. It's there's definitely an upcharge to it, but hopefully something like that comes along for Bronco.
Well, I don't know if you noticed well, you probably didn't because you had the doors off. The side windows in these things are incredibly thick. So the windshield may be as well, but I don't know. It was just something I noticed rolling up the window. Like I don't know, not quite twice as thick, but it's 1.5 times as thick as glass in any other car I've had.
Right.
So
well, let's get into that. And I do appreciate your time, man.
yeah.
So how with Jeep, I love the simplicity of taking the doors off the Jeep. There's bolts on the bottom of it. I don't even put those on anymore. The doors just hang there basically. With Bronco, and I know you've messed with some Jeeps because I know you've done some raps with them and such. How hard is Bronco? Because that's the one thing I think was sort of when at the launch everybody was like, "Oh man, look, the doors come off. They do this and that," and nobody ever paid attention to how you mount these doors, and it seems a little difficult to me.
So I haven't taken the rear doors off yet because the door bags were back ordered. I did finally get them. To me, it was more nerves than anything when I took the front doors off and on.
Yeah, my Jeep
But
was that way.
At the same time, the fact that it's a frameless window and you can get these door bags, that helped a ton. Because you just, like, I slid the bag over the door, and then I started taking stuff apart. Which all you have to do is you pull the electrical clip, which is super easy, and then they give you the little ratchet set, so you pull the two bolts off, and then you just lift the door up, and it comes off.
Have you messed with any of the modern Jeeps to compare the weight? What you feel like the Jeeps are, because the front doors on a Jeep are pretty heavy.
Yeah, it's been a while. This was easier because it doesn't have the frame. I mean, I realize that in like the Jeep you can just have the window down. My advantage is I put it in the bag, and the bag has like 4 handles that you can grab on it.
Yeah.
So as soon as I had the bag around, obviously I couldn't have it closed, had the bag around, pulled the bolts off, I just grabbed the handles on the bag and just lifted it up, and it was like I was carrying a big portfolio or something. And the thing is those bags have like a thick pad of foam on the bottom of them.
Right.
So even if something were to happen, I'm pretty sure it would be okay still. It going back on. Some people say they haven't used. There's like a little guide pin you put in there. I don't know why you wouldn't want to use that. I guess maybe if you lost it somehow. That I felt like was pretty necessary. And I also had. I did it by myself. If somebody else was there to just kind of tell you where to drop the door, it would have been a little bit easier. But then again, a lot of it was just being a little bit nervous about it too. I don't know. I guess at Windrock we'll have to do that side by side and compare.
Yeah. Oh, well, I've got tube doors, right? You know, I showed you the pictures of my tube doors,
Yep.
man, which
Yep.
I will say I don't like the Ford tube doors they're offering, and aftermarket is
Yeah.
definitely going to come up with something.
Yep.
And maybe you guys do, but I will say, like, I love the doors being off, but I will daily use with no doors. I kind of like having tube doors.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. That's something about just having a little something there to lean
Yeah.
on if necessary
Yeah.
is comforting for sure.
Well, so you guys, what is the next steps for you guys to get these bumpers going on? And is it just you want to test fit a few more and get your production down, or what's going on?
So really, we have the one out. The next one will go on my truck, and then we really should be good to go. We're hoping to actually have them for sale the beginning of October. Really, Windrock is the holdup. And I say that because his shop is super busy getting everybody's trucks ready to come to this event. So once that's done, the focus is going to turn a little bit more to Bronco, a lot more to Bronco. I'm not sure when, but I'm going to drive down there for at least a week so we can fine tune some other things. But we're
Let me know. We'll take another Bronco down there if it's at the end of October sometime.
Yeah, there we go. So yeah, really thinking by October you'll be able to actually buy one of these things. Yeah.
Nice. What about lifts? Anything like that coming down the pipeline?
So we have a 1-inch and a 2-inch done. Just need to test fit. And a lot of what goes into this too is, yes, we want to test fit it, but we want to be able to actually install one or two of them before we just send it out, so that we can have thorough instructions that go with everything that we send too.
Because Nestor his instructions are crazy how detailed they are.
Yes, I mean, but at the same time, anybody could install anything he offers.
Yes.
So that's a big part of it too. The lift kits have been ready to go, but like I said, that other one that showed up with the bumper, it already had the 2-inch lift on it. So
Yeah.
we weren't going to be like, thanks for buying this. We're going to rip it off and throw ours on real quick. Um, so we'll get mine lifted, and then we'll have that stuff out, so that everyone can buy that too.
All right, couple more questions. I know it's getting late for you. You've got kids and puppies everywhere. But
Yep.
when you were part of the Granger group that
Yep.
Granger initially, especially where they're all over the forums about, oh man, we're going to discount, or we're going to be fair about these Broncos. How did they treat you, and what was the process like there?
So as far as the sales experience, they treated me very well. I now having mine, I've still been talking to Hunter over there, and they, I mean, daily are getting a million emails. Where's my Bronco? Where's it at?
Oh, I'm
I
sure.
want to change this. How do I get it? And they literally have two guys that are just Bronco.
Well, then they had the one guy pass away.
Yep, Albert, the guy that started it all. I don't know exactly what happened, but yeah, he passed away. So they have like an in memory of mural that they'll take your picture in front of. But that's not where I had my Bronco ordered. But then they started advertising $1,000 off of invoice, which is more than it sounds, because invoice pricing is different than your sticker price. So I paid $2,500 under my sticker price.
Wow.
Was actually out the door. So it's a bigger deal than they even really make it sound like. Not 2,500. No, it was. Sorry. 2,500, and then I added some accessories, but
Well, of course.
but it was a good deal. I would bug them for things like what my train car number was on, and they were willing to give that stuff to me. They did a pretty good job of keeping me up to date, especially knowing how many other people were asking for very similar things.
Because those guys took in a ton of orders. I mean,
Yeah,
I've heard in the 400 range.
I believe it's closer to 2,000.
Really? Wow.
They have deliveries going to Hawaii, literally every state. There's a guy that they've been talking to a lot. I think he was getting his truck within a week or two of mine.
Mm-hmm.
He was flying in from Alaska, driving it back to Alaska.
Holy cow.
They're going hard at this.
Yeah.
It's 400 was how many they were hoping to deliver 2021.
Oh,
that
okay.
was this spring. That was their estimate. So I don't know where they're at on that, because mine was somehow number 2 that they delivered. The first one they delivered was a first edition to somebody in Illinois. But I mean,
wait. Here in the South, that's Illinois.
Oh, sorry. I went to school to learn to not pronounce the S. When it came in, they instantly sent you a picture of the truck, and then it was just like a long list of instructions, and it was like, are we picking you up for the airport? If so, do this, this, and this.
Yeah.
Do you need a rental car? Do this. Like,
wow.
It was very thorough. My only thing was, as soon as they sent me that picture, I was calling them going, I want my Bronco now. How do I get it now? And at first he was kind of hesitant, and they're like, well, and then the finance guy called me and he goes, oh, you can afford it? Okay, come in at 6. So
yeah, thanks. Thanks, finance guy.
The sales portion has been good. So I would definitely, I've been happy there.
Yeah. Well, what about, so people are asking about what accessories did you get? I know one that's been kind of a thorn in your side, but what all did you get?
So I got the. This is another thing that some of this stuff I feel like they were going to include with the Bronco, and then it kind of stopped talking about it so they could like brush it under the rug. I thought these things were coming with door bags. They do not. So
Right.
I ordered the garage door bags because they advertise putting your doors in the back of your four door.
Mm-hmm.
You can't even get those bags.
What?
So yeah, they're
So the
not actually available yet.
I thought the bags were the bags were the bags.
I did too. So I have the garage bags, which they're like a nice thick leather. They've got like an embossed Bronco logo in them. So I ordered those, and I ordered the Bronco tonneau cover. I haven't put that on yet because you need bolts for a hard top to put it on. I don't have a hard top, so I've got to figure out the thread pitch of those bolts so I can put it on. And then I ordered the Bimini top. Everybody says it's the Ford Bimini top, but when you get it, it comes out of a Best Top box. So I'm pretty sure Best Top makes
how's
that
been
one.
your experience with that? Because I know I told you, I was like, look, dude, you're gonna want that because it just a hint of shade, but it does make a difference.
Yep. So overall, I wouldn't not want it. I drove around for a day or two with no sunshade, and the first 85-degree day where you're sitting at a red light with no shade, you are miserable.
Yeah.
So I put it on right away, and it made a huge difference, especially for two little kids in the back. Like on a 90-degree day, cruising around with that, you were perfect. Like you were comfortable with the top off, the windows down, or the doors off. It's a perfect amount of shade. My only problem is they have like these four straps in the back, and it's literally a nylon strap sewn to a piece of like a little plastic clip, and all those like the stitches keep ripping out, and the straps spray apart. Um, it's not a huge deal. I mean, it sucks for sure because it was couple $100. I don't remember exactly how much it was.
Right.
Um, my dealer ordered me more straps, so maybe it was just the first batch. And realistically, the first one that broke, I super glued the plastic to the nylon, and then I threw some thread in there and sewed it back together. And that one's been fine. So I don't know. I don't know if they were just whipping it together too fast or what. The rest of it's been fine. It's just these silly straps on the back, and as soon as one of them lets go, you know it because the whole top starts to like really wave, and it really bounces up and down when you're driving.
Well, the thing I didn't realize until recently was, you know, you've got this big open air experience, and then you try to put that Bimini top on there, and then you got a stupid bar that has to go right through what they sold you of this open air experience.
Yep. And that's not. So the bar's probably an inch wide, and it's not terrible. I don't really even notice it, but it was kind of like I have this open air thing, and now I have to bolt a piece of steel in between the crossbars to put the sunshade on. There is a company in, of course, Florida. I think they're called Gear Shade. And they're trying to come out with one that does not have that center bar.
I was going to say, I've been talking to somebody about this recently, and yeah, it's coming pretty quickly.
Yeah. I've reached out to them a couple times because they can do custom colors and print stuff on them. It looks pretty cool. So we'll see. I may be switching to one of those already.
And you can put your soft top back over it with it still on?
Yeah, so I have to, there's like two little straps and two clips in the front, and you pop those off. You flip like the first like 3 inches of the top or the bimini back, and then you can clip the soft top on.
Nice.
So it takes a second.
Well, last question, man, and I do appreciate it. With the Ford Performance points or whatever. Did you get as soon as you signed the dotted line? How does that work?
So I have like 62 or 64,000.
Mm-hmm.
Can't figure out what to do with them.
What does that equate to, though, really?
I don't think it's anywhere close to what they made it seem like. That part, so I think they're just kind of like throwing points out there, like just be happy. Sorry that this is all such a screw up. Just here's some points. What it appears like to me is it's mostly for, here, do you want a cheaper oil change? Use some of your points.
Yeah.
You want your tires rotated? Use some points. I'm more of a do-it-yourself guy, so I will order AMSOIL and be doing all those things in my own garage.
Is the oil change, you think, is it going to be like the Ranger where you got to pull the front wheel off to get to everything, or you think it's going to be easier?
I keep meaning to look at that, and there's actually some company put out a video the other day where they changed the oil on the 2.7 and the 2.3. So I need to check that. I'm not sure exactly what it'll be like. The oil pan's pretty easy to get access to drain it. I just don't know where the filter is.
Yeah.
But looking around, I mean, I've been an EcoBoost fan for years. I have seen a lot of people that comment on like how ugly the motor looks because there's just kind of stuff everywhere.
Yep.
And there is, but the more that you sit there and look at it, like it's super easy to break it all down. I bet I could change the spark plugs in 30 minutes on this
Really?
thing. It's just like that initial look. You're like, there's wires everywhere. There's tubing. There's intercooler pipes. But like mine's the 2.7. The turbos sit up nice and high. Like if I had to do something for some reason to them, you can actually get pretty easy access to them. The battery would be super easy to move in and out. You have access to all 6 coil packs. The air filter is easy to get to. Like from the standpoint of somebody that actually works on their own vehicle, this is not as overly complicated as you would assume.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I will say from the little that I've looked under the hood, they do seem fairly easy.
Yeah.
So if people want to follow you, where can they do that?
Well, you got just Lifestyle Offroad, and I made Lifestyle or Offroad one word. I don't hyphenate it, but Instagram, Facebook, easiest ways to get in contact with me. You can always check out our YouTube channel, which we should have a lot more content coming. And then my favorite, not Dave's favorite, is my TikTok.
I don't have a problem with TikTok.
Which I need to look at my phone quick because I took that silly video the other day where I took those beauty rings off.
You mean the one that the guy on Facebook was like, I don't know how you get these things off. They won't come off.
Yes. So I was telling you I don't understand TikTok, which I don't. It's like this mindless thing. I now have 40,000 views of people watching me take the beauty ring off of my wheel. And it just started the other day again. Like randomly, all of a sudden my phone was blowing up and I'm like, I don't know what's happening. And then I can flip my phone open every few seconds and there's another 1,000 views on that one video of me just with my DeWalt Impact zipping the screws off quick.
I love there was somebody like, oh, those are just for show. Those are actually part of the wheel. And you're like, no, I've seen these off on many, many wheels, man. I don't think it's an issue.
Right.
Well, guys, go over to his YouTube channel. Like you said, it's not a ton of, it's some older content, I know, and you're working on new Bronco content, but go check it out. I know you're going to showcase the bumpers there.
Yep, for sure. And I've got to just finish editing it together. But I've got like a walk around of my truck, and a couple people have given me a hard time because I've still got a bright pink baby seat in the back, but
Hey, man.
Those things are a pain in the ass to take out,
God,
so it's
they
staying in
are.
there.
They are. That was with Kelly. Like anytime I needed those changed, like she was like a NASCAR pit crew with those things, like in and out. Like I'm like okay, just let her have that problem.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey man, and I know your little boy loves this thing, right?
Oh, so he, like I said, he's 3.5, I guess, if you want to get technical. But he was super excited about the idea of the Bronco, and he had to ride with me when we were driving home from the dealer, and it was just this amazing thing for him. The next day, he got up, and I go to work before he gets up. And he got up, and I guess he was throwing a fit and had to call me at work to figure out where the Bronco was because he was mad because the Bronco wasn't there to take him to school.
Wow.
And then when I got home that night, I walked in through the garage door, and he walked past me, opened the garage door, and just goes, "I love you, Bronco," and shut the door and walked away. I'm just like, I can't, like, I'm like happy, but I can't believe this is happening at the same time.
Right.
Like, he literally loves it. And in anything else we've driven, he didn't all usually want like the windows down.
Mhm.
This is windows down, top off, like, let's just party. And we've got pictures of him in the back, just like absolute pure happiness. Just
Awesome.
on a 10-minute cruise. And he's just like, this is awesome. So
Well,
once I get to 4-wheel with him, I'm sure that'll be amazing.
right. Well, so guys, I have to let you know this. I was gonna, and while Luke's on here, I'll go ahead and say this. We had old Mitchell from Town and Country Ford was in the last chat. We've set up a time tentatively that I believe it's the 14th, next Tuesday. I believe it's when it is, or 2 weeks. That I want everybody to know we're going to have Mitchell on here, and I'll probably, I'm going to ask the tough questions. So you guys, you probably bring the love on that one. And but Luke, I seriously appreciate you being on. This is the longest you've ever been on a podcast or anything with me, so I do appreciate that. Guys, once again, go show some love. Clearly TikTok, he's a TikTok guy, so go show his love there. I have a TikTok. You can find it if you want. Every once in a while I do post something, but Instagram's my thing, man. So guys, hang with me just for a second, and I'm gonna get your questions and comments, and I'm gonna say goodbye to Luke real quick. So y'all just hold on real quick. And boom goes the dynamite. What is going on, everybody? Thank you guys so much for smashing that like button. We're up to 50 likes right now out of 80 people that are roughly in here. And I greatly appreciate all the 50 people that have done that. And whatever support you guys offer the channel, I greatly appreciate it. I have to say, Cigar Texan, man, you dude, you're effing nuts, and I appreciate that. And gosh, I'm missing everybody's like all this. You guys just go nuts with the super chats, man. And I don't. I like to say this because I mean it. I greatly appreciate all that stuff, and it helps the channel so much. So anytime you guys do that, like, it means a lot to the channel. So I greatly appreciate that. So who all got their VINs, man? I thought last week was VIN crazy. This week seems like really, really VIN crazy. Like, I've seen all over any social media. Like, I think Ford was just throwing VINs out left and right wherever they hit. You know, I think there was people, my neighbors didn't order Broncos and they got hit with VINs this week, man. It was crazy. And congratulations to anybody that got in their VINs. I know Mobile there has not got the VIN he's expecting just yet, but I'm telling you, they're coming, man. They are definitely coming. So hopefully you guys hear me all right. I've just got an error on the audio side. But let's see, Dr. Simple Beauty. I didn't see you take one sip during the last 20. Dave's out of booze, man. So that's why I ran out. Dr. Simple Beauty 300. Andy said he did not get his VIN yet. Mobile clearly did not get theirs. Matt, no VIN, just crickets from Ford. Super chat, I want a t-shirt. Terrence, I owe you, definitely you and Cigar, I owe you guys a t-shirt. You guys hit me up over on Instagram and DM me that way or on Facebook, and we're going to work something out for you guys on that, because I definitely got to take care of you guys on that, so I appreciate that. Let's see. Min Peugeot, I got the new vehicle support team, telephone circle jerk. Well, they're never going to tell you anything. Let's see. Dr. Simple Beauty, I know you've had yours for a while, but I believe you're a hardtop. And we all know what that means is the dirt mountain of doom over there. You know, there's Saruman over there just keeping an eye on your Broncos. Oscar got his. That's awesome. But I did, Doctor, I promise you, I had a nice pour of Maker's Mark tonight. It wasn't brought to you by Maker's Mark, but it should be Maker's Mark if you guys want to come aboard. Yes, I seen Cigar. I seen you talking about that, about the relocation of the ACC radar. I think some of the problems with trying to relocate that thing is it knows roughly how high it is off the ground, where it's at, and I think there would be some programming you'd need to crack to really to adjust that, to get that to work right. But I could be off. Terrence, you're going to see Danny tomorrow. Well, we need a special picture of you and Danny, so make sure Danny posts it to his Instagram. And if you don't know, Danny's Instagram is DeGrootX, so check that out. Oscar says a build date of September 27th. So you're the week. I think we're Oscar. We're same week builds, man. I'm a September 27th week, though I have not. Who's gotten their window sticker? I keep looking. I'm hourly looking at that stupid thing going, when am I going to get my window sticker? Because I see people all the time going, hey, I got my window sticker. I don't even know anymore what to believe when people talk about this stuff. But I did see somebody was on Facebook today talking about, oh, my dealer told me I'm a November 1st build and it'll be delivered by the 5th. And I was like, we got to talk about your dealer, man, because I don't think I want to deal with that. They at least finally admitted that your Bronco was built on Dirt Mountain. That's awesome. Let's see. Tim says, thinking about dropping from the Lux to the high package. Will it make much difference in getting one? I don't buy the BS of the deadly sins. And why I don't, I told Luke, who was on here, when he got his, me and him had talked about it. And I was like, dude, I think you switch to a soft top and bam, you're going to get your order. Well, he went full and he took his tow package off too, and he got his order. But I don't think that matters as much as it is just the hardtop issue. And I think we're seeing the way they're throwing out VINs right now. I think if you kept everything, depending on which model you got, but soft top wins out. I think Ford wants to build a ton of these things. They're building, I seen a sheet the other day, about 400 Broncos a day. So they've cranked it up, and they're allowed to do that now since a lot of, they've said, hey, no more hardtops for a bit. So it's Rusty Jeep still does not have his hammock. Did you guys see I think I showed it last stream. Let's see. I think did I show y'all the Bronco badges that I got? These for the side of my Bronco. What was it from? Let's see. Bronco Depot USA makes these. And I heard they got a cease and desist from Ford about this. They make them in chrome, flat black, and glossy black like I got. But I would suggest if you're interested in converting the side of your Bronco into something cool like that, you go over there real quick. And I don't even know those people, but I had heard that they were told to stop doing that. Cigar Seconds, no hammock here, just tracking from FedEx. Oh, that's cool. I got my hammock the same day I got my build number, which was nuts. It was a great day. That was a great last Thursday or whenever it was. Johnny Car Care and Review is in the house. What's going on, Johnny? Johnny's channel is taking off, man. Let's see. What else we got going on? Cole, Dr. B says she is she, I never know what to call you, is a day 2 reservation holder. Technically been waiting 14 months. I was a day 3. What was it? 7/16 is when and that would have been like a 7 or 8 p.m. But some of that is also they're spreading, I know reservations, everybody thought, oh, it's just they're going to go right down the number. But some of that they have to spread across the country. So they're trickling those out everywhere. So don't lose faith. You guys are gonna get those. Let's see. GM is stopping production of multiple plants because of chips again. Do you think Ford will make similar announcements soon? Well, Ford, if I remember right, Matt, Ford has said that the F-150s, they've halted 2 of the 3 plants they have for F-150s. Bronco's priority 1 for Ford, so I don't think that's till maybe next spring would be an issue for Bronco, but you never know with that. Doctor, it is a she. See, now I know, and knowing is half the battle. Dr. Simple Beauty 300. And I never know how to call people anymore. So, Canada gets no presents from Ford. Oh, dude, your channel did not take off because of this channel. We just love what you do over there, man. Let's see, 2-door Outer Banks edition advanced 4-wheel. I guess in Peugeot, I am also what we're talking about. 2-door stuck in waiting till 22. College kid said, and guys, 2-door. I initially ordered a 2-door, and my buddy Luke, me and him are good friends, man. We text each other daily about, hey man, what do you think you should do, this and that, and 4-door's the way to go. And I know for me the 2-door looks like the classic Bronco, but I'm glad I did a 4-door now. Definitely. Oscar says, I am a late October reservation. Dropped all the sins and got my build day to work for you. Nice. Let's see. I was going soft top from day 1, but all these hard tops switching the orders to soft now might be pushing me back. Tim, yeah, that could be. Definitely. There is some of that. What sucks about Johnny's Car Care Review? Oh, about the no presents. So they're seriously not sending any of that to Canada? That's kind of crappy. I mean, I guess, man, the world we live in right now is just nuts with trying to send anything across the border. So I guess I get it. We got here. Cole, pop up there. Cole says, saw what you said. Who else got their dates, man? No reservation, ordered 5/4/21. OBX has nothing to do with it. It's allocations. What's up, John? Thumb? Hi. Oh, I gotta say too. Where's my guy? Who was it last week? Something P. I want to say hi to Josh P or whatever his name was. What's going on, Josh P? I waited till August 9th to reserve, so it's my own fault. Yeah, I seen a bunch on social medias right now too of people going, "Hey, I just was in my dealership and ordered one, and he said it'll be 4 months and I'll have it." And I'm like, dude, I just want to pull those people aside and be like, "Hey, guy, no, it's not going to happen." Dealers right now, they'll sell you anything. They'll take that reservation money, and I think a lot of dealers are asking for deposits of $1,000 plus, so they want that money. Let's see. Any more Bad Batch T-shirts? I believe the final order went in August 27th. That's when Luke was wrapping that up. So I know the order went out. So those hopefully in the next few weeks will be shipping. No me emails either. Thank God for YouTube. Otherwise, we would know nothing. Clearly. Johnny, you got your VIN, though, didn't you? Dan's got hit. Dan, we're same week buddies, man. 9/27. That's my week as well. College Kid says, I saw a pic somewhere where other merch they will be sending out like a blanket. Lots of talk of what the 20-pound package is. Will it be a chair? I've seen this 20. I see all the rumors about these 20-pound packages, and I've yet to see, like, I haven't seen anybody. There's nothing in my FedEx account about it, but who knows, man? And people, I seen somebody the other day throw theirs in the garbage, and it was a brand new garbage bag. They threw that in the little picture Ford sent them. It was just kind of being a shithead about it. And I thought, why? Like, Ford didn't have to send you anything. They could have dicked you around, and you waited another 2 years to get anything. And yet they chose to give people things. You know, they don't have to do any of that. Oh, dude, Johnny, yours is in transit. That's badass, man. Andy, where? I don't understand it. Andy, when did you do your reservation? I'm curious about, because they should have, your order should have went in, what was it, guys, by March 20th or something like that was the date to get the orders in. And that even price locks you. So I would definitely, I'd either bug the piss out of my dealer, Andy, or I may try to figure out a way to get that moved somewhere else. Two-door is much more of a good-looking. I agree, Rusty. April. That's weird, man. I would definitely bug my dealership about it with some phone calls, and if you could stop by, stop. I'm a big firm believer of putting face to face. March 19th. Okay. What was it? Oh, was it January 20th when we could get the orders in? Something like that. My dealer called me to buy a soft top 4-door. Let's see. Or a nice whiskey, Johnny says. Yeah, I agree. Let's see, my dealer said I'm supposed to get an email from Ford to convert. I don't buy that, Andy. Everything I like. Well, no, because if I remember right, I put in my reservation. I got a phone call from my dealership the next day, and they just went over, hey, thank you for doing that. I'll be your liaison. After that, I didn't put a deposit down till the January 20th or something like that. And then my dealership only required a $500 deposit, and then they kept the 100 that I did the reservation with, so I only put 400 more down. Let's see, January 20th, across the country in a shop. Well, yeah, I can understand that, Andy. I can understand that. I walked into my dealer and converted my reservation, John Thumb said. Yeah, I don't. Some of these dealers, I have a feeling, man, they are stealing people's reservations. I think that's why I'm not saying on you, Andy, but I've seen some people go, hey, man, I was a day one order. I've still yet to hear from anything. And I have a feeling somehow these dealerships are somehow swiping reservations to sell. And how would you like to do, like, that would, we would be super pissed off, and there would be nothing you could do about it because Ford can't build these things as is. Cigar says he did a $500 deposit too. Well, let's see. Was there any news this week? I've been kind of quiet on the old forums here lately to see what was going on. Like I said, I definitely a lot of mini canceling orders. So much, man. Race. Oh yeah, we'll pull this up here because I like this a lot. This makes me really like the race red. So you guys know. Give me just a second, and we're gonna solve this issue so we can all talk about this. Let's see. Hopefully you guys are having it. Who's ready for the weekend? I know I am. All right. Little edit skis there, and we're ready to go. Now, this is a quick, fast thing, but there we go. What do you guys think of this? Race red that a dealership painted the roof on. I like it. I'm curious at how well these are going to hold up, though. I am curious about that. But, man, that's what sold me on the Broncos when I seen them in those all the release photos was these matching tops. I think it looks great. I think there's certain colors that look better with this, and I think red is one of those colors that look great. Let's see what else we got there. Looks like they redid the badging of the Ford too. That looks really good. I'm sure there's a premium on this bad boy from Akins Ford out of Georgia. Looks like they probably swapped to the. I'm not sure which model this was. It's a Big Ben. Yep, Big Ben. Once again, dealers getting those like crazy. Those Nitto trail grapplers look great on it. Those wheels look great. They're fuel wheels. Let's see, it's a 3512. Nice, man. It shows like they're going through the process. The painted fenders, where are you guys at with the painted fenders? I didn't like them at first, and then they're kind of growing on me now. Even though I think they'll be chipped up and just beat to crap over time, they're really growing on me. Let's see. Cigar says he's painted his white. Cigar, what color did you end up going with? No painted fenders. Race red in real life is less bright. White fenders. Have you guys seen the budget Bronco build channel? Guy took a base and he's just slowly converting it into the build he wants. But he took basically Krylon paint to the front grille, and I was just like, oh man, don't. Okay, Area 51. Nice. You're going for that kind of Nintendo look. Let's see. Any other cool things here? Nope. Just like the same pictures that we've seen. So there's that. But I'm pretty pumped, man. Like I said, I haven't got to pay much attention to. I've had some other did that Bronco or the Jeep video this week. If you guys would check that out, I'd appreciate that. What else we got going on? I did it was a 3-month review video that dropped today. Seems to be doing all right. Jeep content, you guys are Bronco crazy, but Jeep content does okay on the channel. So, I will probably be losing the Jeep. I'll probably trade it in for the Bronco. I want to keep both of them, but, I also like food on the table for dinner. So, but those likes help that. So I do appreciate that. So I will end up in, let's see, it'll probably be end of October, 1st November before I actually get my Bronco. I will do a final review on that coming up for what it was like. I've been pretty happy with the Gladiator. I'm pretty heartbroken that Ford's not decided to do a Bronco truck as of now. I think they will though. But yeah, let's see. I've got we're about to get rid of the BMW as well. I've got a 5 Series. I'm going to do a final video with it. I've got to clean it up. We're going to fix some stuff in the interior, and it's going to be sold. And that's about it for tonight, guys. Unless you guys got something you want me to discuss or you want to talk about. Let's see. What are we like? I don't even know how long we've done this now for, but we've done this for a long time, man. And I greatly appreciate y'all's time. So whether it be 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, you know the drill. It does not matter what you drive. This has been your All-Terrain Nation, and I've been your host, David Boyd, and we are out. Peace, everybody. Guys, you guys are crazy, and I love every one of you. Hit me up, guys. Hit me up on Instagram and about the shirts, and I'll take care of you.